Do you know why it is so good to shoot long-range muzzle loading? First, you can shoot excellent rifles. Second, you have a very sexy 540 grain bullet paper patched. Third, well, you have to hear it. Well, hitting that gong at 300 meters is indeed a beautiful feeling. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are talking about real long-range muzzle-loading shooting. And when I say real, I say up to 1 kilometer distance. Well, for me, it's only 900 yards so far. But anyway, it's long range for a 19th century muzzle-loading rifle. Let me guide you through this whole process and show you the beauty of long-range muzzle-loading shooting. But before we start this journey, let me thank you for your support, your donation through Patreon, or buying our products like the US Arsenal Stadia, like the cartridge percussion revolver cartridge formers, like the cartridge boxes we have, authentic from the American Civil War, like the powder measures we have, and like the rubber stamps we have. These are all helping to keep the quality of our channel high. So thank you very much. Without you, this would be much harder. Hitting a target at 1 kilometer distance is pure art, ladies and gentlemen. You have to have the proper rifle that is an original rifle or a reproduction of an original rifle from the 19th century. You have to have a very accurate load, but you have to also learn the effect of the circumstances, like the effect of the wind, effect of the light, the direction and the strength of the light, the mirage, humidity, temperature. They will all affect your shooting. This is such a beautiful science that you have to know before you even try to fire at that distance. I have already made quite a few videos about shooting muzzle-loading rifles and historical rifles up to larger distances, but they are mostly shot on 100 or 200 meter basis. Now we are pushing that further. We are going to start at 300. Let me show you what I have in my little shooting stand. First of all, you need a long-range rifle. That's a small bore, original British muzzle-loading rifle made in the middle of the 19th century. You need a record book, where you record all your shots and all the necessary information about the circumstances, how you shoot. You also record your hits and of course the muzzle velocity as well. I have a ballistic radar that is helping me to record the velocity, the muzzle velocity and the bullet, and it also follows the bullet up to, let's say, 150 meters. So I get very good information about the ballistic coefficient. That little stuff here, it's a very clever device. I have a camera out there at the target at 300 meters. Or 300 yards, and I have the receiver here, and I can connect to that with my mobile phone, and I can track each and every single shot. Funny. And of course you need a helper. Well, here is my little hero, that's my son, and he's tracking my hits. Look at that. Oh yeah, and you can mark all your hits on the target with different colors. So it's a really clever system. The loading procedure starts with charging the powder charge into the bore. It's a pre-measured powder charge from a vial, using a long loading funnel. Now comes the carton bed. It is gently pushed down on the powder. Now comes the cleaning part. The bore is cleaned on top of the wad, so we don't push the residue into the chamber. The bore must be very clean for paper patch bullets, so I use 2 wet and 2 dry patches. During the loading procedure, do everything exactly the same way from shot to shot. You must be able to load your rifle so the muzzle velocity deviation is not more than 3-4 meters per second. Now comes the bullet. Paper patch bullets are never pre-lubed. I only add a very light layer of grease just before shooting, but many shooters don't even lube these bullets. The bullet is sized to the exact bullet diameter, and it must go down with the weight of the ramrod. Never hammer your bullet on the powder, otherwise you will crush the corns and destroy the edge of the bullet. Both will ruin accuracy. Push the bullet down with uniform force. Always use a jag that is countersunk to match the form of your bullet.
Mi? Aha.
Lejjebb tekertem az irányzékot, és oldali irányzékot rajta.
Ó! 8.
8-as?
8-as.
Király.
8-as.
És hol? Hány? Vas?
Nem. Nem magas.
Recording the velocity is very important, as it can reveal problems in the loading procedure. My muzzle velocity now varies between 381 and 87, with 85 grains of 1.5 Swiss powder. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a 300-yard group, and there's a lot of space for improvement here. But there were quite a few shots that were really on target, like this group here. I think I'm going to love that sport. I love long-range shooting. The history of long-range shooting is strongly connected to the military history. In the 19th century, in the middle of the 19th century, all the key military powers were changing to rifles. The Industrial Revolution allowed the armies to adopt generally the rifle for all the troops. In the beginning of the second half of the 19th century, clever engineers like Sir Joseph Whitworth started to work on how to increase the range of these rifles. First of all, they reduced the caliber, they lengthened the projectile, and they changed the twist rate of the bore, and they arrived to the small-bore British muzzle-loading target rifle. Let's talk a bit about the rules of MLAIC long-range muzzle-loading shooting. First of all, this is in fact mid-range and long-range shooting. Mid-range is 300, 500 and 600 yards or meters, and long-range is 900 and 1000 yards or meters. All the competitions can be shot on the yard or on the metric basis as well. In both cases, the numbers are the same, but of course the distances are a bit different. Each and every single competition and distance has its own target size. The biggest target size we have is for 900 and 1000, which is around 2.4 meters by 1.7 meters. So it seems big, but when you're looking at that target from a distance of 1 kilometer, it will shrink. Disciplines are shot from prone position, and the rifle is not supported. At mid-range, you have to hold the rifle as it's in the Olympic rulebook, which means you can use the sling, but the rifle is not resting on any kind of shooting rest. At long range, you can support your left hand, your supporting hand can be supported on a sandbag or something like that, but that's the only thing that you have in advantage. Each and every single competition is shot in two classes. First one is the original. If you choose original, you must have a rifle that was manufactured in the 19th century. The sights can be repro sights on these rifles because often the sights are lost from old rifles. These rifles, believe me, they shoot just as good as their modern time repros. And that's the second class. The second class, the reproduction class, is for rifles that were manufactured as a close copy of original rifles, like the Pedersoli Gibbs, which is out of box a perfect choice for muzzle loading shooting. There are strict rules about the rifle. First of all, the weight of the rifle must not exceed 13 pounds. That's very important. Second, the caliber of the rifle must be between 0.40 inches to 0.47 inches. There are very few ranges all across Europe that are suitable for long-range muzzle loading because you have to have the butt there, you have to have target pullers, so it is an infrastructure that is rarely available all around the European continent or probably all around the world. So this is why we started to experiment with state-of-the-art camera systems, remote camera systems. And in November we had a team of international shooters coming from Switzerland, from Germany, from Austria, from the Netherlands, from France, testing the system in Hungary. This was very inspiring. It was an excellent 2 days. So the experience of this little shooting session that we gained, this is something I would like to share with you. The main purpose for this friendly match was to test a camera system that can transfer the image of the target to our mobile phones and tablets via Wi-Fi system. We will have a long-range international match in Hungary in 2022, so we have to find a solution for tracking the shots, as there are no scopes that can show a 45 caliber bullet hole at 1000 yards today. In Europe, there is only one range having the target pulling system, the beautiful range of Bisley, England. Finding a way to run a match on cameras will therefore multiply the possibilities for shooters all across Europe. With the new camera system set, the shooting started at 600 yards first with strong crosswind. It is allowed to use analog devices for measuring the wind direction and speed. This wind can move the projectile easily to 0.5–1 meter to the left.
Seite 3 hoch auf 11 Uhr.
Yeah. With that, I can only miss target, not seeing the front side.
With the help of our European friends, we managed to get on target easily after a few shots, and the old rifle and the charge proved its quality. Last of my shots were in the black aiming mark, making Capandball very happy. The camera system worked very well. It showed immediately our hits on our devices, making it easy to follow our scores. I needed only 3–4 shots to get on target, and with a bit of sight setting, I managed to get into the black, scoring 4 happy hits, including a bullseye. My shots are marked with blue spots. I collected the remains of the paper patching that landed just a few meters in front of the muzzle. This is how paper patching has to work. It must detach from the projectile leaving the muzzle. Let's talk a bit about the course of fire. First of all, the shooting, the timed relay, starts with falling shots. When the first shot hits the target, that's the first convertible sighter of the shooter. These convertible sighters, it is up to the shooters to decide whether to use it as a scoring hit or as a sighter. On mid-range, you have 3 convertible sighters. On long ranges, 900 and 1000, you have 5 convertible sighters. When the relay really starts, you have to have on mid-range 10 scoring hits and on long range 15 scoring hits on the target. Long-range muzzle loading is a real social event. First of all, because nearly all the shooters know each other and they cherish beautiful friendships. Second, in each shooting stand 2 shooters and the scorer are working together, helping each other during the sighting period to get properly in the center of the target. Scores are marked and recorded on the scoring sheet based on the information from the scorer. In our case, the scorer was connected to the camera system, providing immediate info about the hit. Let's talk about the rifle. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my original small-bore British long-range muzzle-loading target rifle from the 19th century. We don't know the maker, probably it was made as a commercial item, but it's a good shooter for sure. What do we need here? Of course, the small caliber bore that we discussed with the fast twist rate. Fast twist rate means 1 turn in 18 or 1 turn in 20–22 inches. This is considered fast in the 19th century. Second, it must be a percussion rifle, of course, because with a flintlock, I don't think you have a chance at 1000 yards. It must have proper sights. You have to have a long-range sight with enough elevation and with enough windage for compensating the effect of the wind. You must have a proper front sight as well, with interchangeable inserts and preferably with windage adjustment. My rifle is equipped with a long-range sight called the Dr. Goodwin sight. This is an original sight. It has enough elevation and enough windage for compensating the effect of the wind. This is a perfect fit for long-range muzzle loading. Let's talk about the bullets now. Well, you have two choices. The first one is the grease groove bullet. The second is the paper patch bullet. The easiest choice is the grease groove bullet. These bullets are equipped with the grease grooves that are holding the loop, and they are usually sized to the exact bore diameter. But most shooters for real long-range shooting prefer the paper patch bullets. The paper patch bullet has flat sides, which means that it has a much better ballistic coefficient, and it is wrapped in paper to separate it from the bore. This undersized bullet, let's say it is 0.442 inches in my case, it is patched to 0.450. It is much difficult to make it, but with a little practice, you can master it. It doesn't matter which one you choose, you have to make an alloy, a harder alloy for your bullets, which means that you will have to alloy your lead with a little of tin. Let's say 1 part of tin to 14 to 19 parts of lead will create an alloy that is hard enough for long-range shooting. You have really hefty charges here, so you have to harden your bullet. And there are strict rules about the weight of the bullet as well. The weight of the bullet must be between 400 to 600 grains. The base of the bullet is protected by wads. There are people who use carton wads. This is what I use. I prefer carton wads. And there are people who use felt wads. These felt wads can even be lubricated with some kind of soft lube. But there are some people who are putting a grease cookie between 2 layers of wads, or just under the bullet and on top of the wad. These carton wads are punched from 1.5 mm thick paper, and they protect the base of the bullet. Because the burning powder particles can attack the base of the bullet and can damage the base of the bullet, which will cause instability in flight. For long-range muzzle-loading shooting we use heavy charges, which means that we are shooting between 80 to 120 grains of black powder. The grain size of these charges is usually 2F or 1.5F, and most of the people are using Swiss powder. These charges will burn your nipple out very fast, which means that you will have to choose a platinum or any kind of hard metal alloy lined nipple. This is important because if your touch hole will get bigger, you will lose accuracy. Your muzzle velocity to reach for long-range shooting, and when I mean a real long-range shooting like 900 and 1000, must be between 380 meters per second to 420 meters per second. This is around 1250 to 1350 or 80 feet per second. There are quite a few accessories that you will need for long-range muzzle-loading shooting. Most of these are standard accessories for muzzle-loading and for any kind of normal shooting. But I prefer to have one special item as well, which is a box that I created, inspired by the 19th century long-range range boxes of the old-time shooters. Let me show you what I have in my range box. And this is my shooting box, ladies and gentlemen. It holds every single tool that I will need for long-range muzzle-loading shooting. First of all, I have my logbook here. This is very important because you have to record all your experiences. This will be your Bible. I have a little container for percussion caps and for the wads. Under that I have my cleaning patches. I have space, secure space for 90 bullets. I have space for 45 containers of black powder, and I have all the tools with the grease that I need for shooting the rifle. If you are looking for further information about long-range muzzle-loading shooting, I strongly recommend you to check the website of Research Press. It is edited by David Minshall. It's an excellent source of information for the beginner and for the advanced as well. And that's a target at 900 yards. That's the long-range target. And although the black seems big, that is really far, and it seems really, really small in the sights. But this day will be fun for sure. On the second day of our international shooting event, we went up to 900 yards to test the range of the camera system. From this distance, the 2.4 by 1.7 meter target looks really tiny. It is hard to believe that there are shooters who can put all the shots into the bullseye. The teamwork started, and after a few shots, everybody was on target. Without target pullers or camera systems, at this distance you are dead. I made quite a few recordings trying to catch the impact, but this was the only one recognizable bullet hole through a 600mm telelens. See close the right side of the black at 3 hours. Our scorers recorded each shots, so we were able to track the shots of 4 shooters shooting to the same target simultaneously. After the testing was done, there came my big moment. Finally, I was able to try myself at 900 yards. With the help of 4 friends, I needed 10 shots to find the right elevation and windage.
Sitting on a high seat for 5 hours without any movement, and then first your feet have frozen down, and then it comes up, and then it's no shoes, no socks. That's enough.
Now you have shoes that are enough. Yeah, you must buy some shoes. I have some belt for friends that are in English store. I get the shop for them. Then
Geschraubt, Uni.
And that's the end of the day, and that's that 900-yard target. Of course, these are not only my shots. I needed all about 10 to 12 shots to get on the target, but finally I scored some hits on the target from 900 yards with an original rifle from the 19th century. Well, these were my first hits low here. That too. I fired these 2 shots and that one as well. I still have to improve a lot, and I learned a lot about my rifle, but that's the point in it, because black powder shooting is continuous learning, like Lenin said. I managed to score 5 consecutive shots in the target, and although I did not hit the black, I was still very, very happy. So ladies and gentlemen, hitting that bullseye at 1000 meters is an excellent adventure. It is a journey that I'm just starting. I have been shooting black powder for 25 years now, and I have many medals from international competitions like European Championships, like World Championships. But this is something very new for me. This is a road that I will have to document, and I will document it for you. I will share it with you. So ladies and gentlemen, if you wish to support me, you know how to do it. You can do it through Patreon or by buying the capandball products from our eBay store or from our website. So ladies and gentlemen, what more can I say? Until next time, stay cool and keep your powder dry.